How's everybody doing? It's Brian at fishinghype.com. We're out here on Lake Barkley doing a little vertical fishing for white crappies today. And we tried out earlier trying to catch some blacks up on the bank, and it just didn't seem to work. They just didn't seem to be up there as well as we wanted them to. So we come out here and we're checking some of these brush piles today. They're on these mid-lake flats. What will happen with these white crappies, they tend to spawn a little bit later. And they'll, a lot of times they won't go to the bank to spawn. They'll spawn out on these flats instead. And so we've just been trying to find some flats that, mid-bay humps and mid-bay, flatter points. Something about 6 foot to 8 foot on top, and some of us got some stake beds or brush or whatever anybody's put out. Guys put all kinds of different cover out, and we're just going down some of these breaks. And, got some stake beds marked. Stake beds that have been good in the past, other new stuff that's out there. But what you're looking for is just try to get in that 10-foot range right now. They're kind of staging before they go up on top, 10 to 15 foot. And basically just 1/8 ounce jig head and a piece of plastic. Today we've got the Big Bite tubes. It's actually a solid tube body with a tentacle tail, like a tube, but it's got a solid body to it, and putting a minnow on that. The reason I like to do that is the fact that if I use a twister tail or something, it tends to impede the action. Having a minnow on there, and kind of takes away from the action of the tail. That way, a tube, you still got a little bit of action there. It's more for the color than it is anything. There we go. Nice white Lake Barkley white crappie. Get him undone. Light wire hook. That way if you get snagged up in the whatever you got going on, you can pull it free. That's what we're looking for. What I was talking about, a light wire hook, is these are special made jig head and hook. It's got a really light wire to it. One, it penetrates the fish's mouth better, but it also lets you pull it free of whatever you might get stuck on. And there's that tube. This one's white chartreuse, and I got a red and white one on the other one. Basically just taking this thing, dropping it down, till it hits bottom. There's not taking out line, it's on bottom. I get the rod tip down so it's hard on there, and just raise up. That way I know, with that rod tip being a foot off the water, I know my jig's a foot off the bottom. That's about the easiest way to kind of keep track of it as to what's going on with it. Some guys try to reel once or twice. You got to really know your reels, how much line they're taking up at that point. Otherwise it gets pretty difficult to know exactly all the time how far you are. Now if you let your line out all the time, and reel it up tight so the rod tip's right on the water. However far you got that rod tip off the water is how far that jig is off the bottom. back over my brush pile here. Sometimes color matters, other times it doesn't. I mean, you'll get guys coming in the shop that they're die-hard one color or the other and can't catch them on another, and you'll get another guy comes in and he says it's got to be this color or that color. I just go with whatever you got confidence in is probably your best bet. Your whites, blues, chartreuses, they always seem to be your, you know, probably the number one colors overall. The biggest thing is just get over it. A lot of times you'll be able to see them on your electronics. Like I'm over that brush pile now, and just a lot of times you'll see the fish come up out of that brush pile after it. Depending on how many are down there, or you know how active they are. Sometimes you got to have it right on the bottom. That's another thing too. If those fish raise up and they're a foot off, you know, 5 foot up, or you see some suspended fish, you just pull it up. Look at it roughly 3, 4, 5 feet, whatever they are up. You can bring it up, and I've caught a number of fish where I actually pulled the bait up and knowing then how far it was. Caught them that way. There we go. That's what we're looking for. There's another one. That one's off the white and red. Get another plump. These are staging females, just waiting on fat belly. Just staging, waiting to go up on those flats and spawn. Again, the keys to this is just make sure when you drop that line all the way down, let the line hit the bottom, reel up your rod tip so the line gets tight, so the rod tip's on the bottom, on the edge of the water. That way when you raise it up a foot out, your rod tip a foot off the water, your bait's a foot off the bottom. Check out these big bite tubes too, they've got scent in them. Another thing also, big key would get yourself some light wire hooks. Anytime you get them caught, I mean, you can just tell. And that one was weak and broke. You can bend them out, and you get hung up down there. Another trick you can do is a bell sinker with a swivel bell sinker with a snap on it. You can snap it on and slide it down and knock them off. But hope this gives you a few more tips when maybe the crappie fishing isn't going the way you want it to. Like today, we went out. We were going to try to catch some blacks and stuff up on the bank, and we just couldn't get it going, so we pulled out here in a little bit deeper water and on these flats, and found some of these whites on a couple of these brush piles out here. So don't ever give up just because you're not catching them the way you want to. And get out on, you know, change up a little bit. That's what we did today. Got out on these flats, and just something to check out when you know those fish aren't up there yet. Pull out here a little bit deeper water, and you'll definitely catch some more fish. Until next time, I'm Brian with fishinghype.com.